Hello, everyone. We're going to wait 1 or 2 more minutes here to let people join in. Then we'll get started. We'll start at 1 minute after 1. Okay, hello everyone and welcome. I'm John Mitchell in the training department at the Estimating Edge. Today we will be presenting a webinar on how to create masters and how to edit your masters in your database. Before we get started, we want to go over some housekeeping items. First, all lines will be muted. You will have the ability to ask questions during the course of the webinar. To do that, you're just going to type your questions into the questions box, and we have moderators who are standing by who will answer your questions as they come in. Also, this webinar will be recorded. At the end of the webinar, you will receive an email from GoToWebinar with instructions on how to view the webinar. And then after that, the webinar will be posted on YouTube. And at the end of this webinar, I'll show you visual instructions on how to find the webinar on YouTube. While we're waiting for more people to join in, we've invited Derek Eklum from Foundation Software to share some product news with us. So Derek, if you could take it from here, that would be great.
Oh, yeah, thanks, John. Appreciate it. Let me see here. Let me pull up my screen. There we go. Should be able to see that there on your side. And yeah, I won't take up too much of your time, and I've just brought on board here to cover a couple minutes and showcase some of the additional features that we have here at the Foundation family of products. So, we've got a number of different products that we've developed over the years, and the one I want to kind of touch base on here today is called Safety HQ. Which this is a web-based safety tracking app. It's a product that if you have our flagship product, Foundation Software, it integrates with that. But if you don't, it works well too. You don't need to have Foundation in order to utilize this. But this is a construction health and safety app. It actually is a native app that you can download on your phone. It's a tool that helps all types of contractors, all types of trades to manage compliancy, make sure everybody's safe on the work site. And some of the key features are toolbox talks, customized inspection forms, certification tracking, training, incident reports, safety data sheets, job hazard analysis, JHAs, I know companies call them for short, and it does have the OSHA 300A form. So if you do have questions, or maybe you have a safety director there at your company, or if not, if you're just interested in hey, how can I have my company become more safe overall, feel free to reach out to us. There should be an area there on the GoToWebinar. There might be a little questionnaire at the end where it'll ask if you are interested in information, and we can just send you information, or if you do want to set up a time to kind of go through a full demonstration on Safety HQ, feel free to reach out, and we'd be happy to help. So I do appreciate that short couple minutes, and I'm going to pass it back over to John, and he'll get you going on the rest of the webinar. John, it's all yours.
Okay, thank you, Derek. Let me show my screen. So let me pull this one up. This webinar is on how to create masters to put into your database, and then how to edit them in the database once they're in there. So we'll cover what a master is, and I'll give you examples for why you would want to create masters, and I'll show you how to save a master to your database, and then how to edit those masters in your database when you're done saving them to your database. So I'm in a job that I've already created here. I'm in the pages breadcrumb. By the way, you can create masters for any trade, but for the sake of time, we're going to narrow it down to creating masters for roofing, and I'll create a master for drywall, and I'll create a master for fireproofing. But just so you know, you can create masters in any trade that uses the edge. So what you're going to do, you're going to go forward to the conditions breadcrumb. And in your database, you already have some predefined masters already. Let me show you what masters are. So I'm hitting the plus sign in the conditions breadcrumb to add more conditions. These blue lines right here are categories, and that will be important when I show you how to save a master, but these are the categories here. And underneath or within each category are masters. So what you're going to do is come and either pick individual conditions or pick a master that you already have in your database. A little bit over a year ago, we gained the ability to just double click right here, and this entire list of conditions goes into the column on the right. These conditions are what are going to show up on the conditions breadcrumb right here. So we're going to start with some conditions. There may be some that you don't need in your master. If you don't need them, like this field fabricated pipe seals, let's say I don't need this in my master, I can just double click right here and it goes away. Let's say we don't need the tall wall. It goes away if I double click on it. But I can add more conditions to my condition list by choosing another category. I'm going to choose roofing miscellaneous here and add roof hatches. I'm just going to double click. I'm going to add a roof hatch by double clicking, and there it is on the bottom. Then I'm going to collapse down roofing miscellaneous and click on the category for roofing sheet metal here and click on this master. This is a master grouping of conditions, and I am going to choose gutter by double clicking on it. It goes over here, then double click on downspout and it goes over here. And I'm going to add, no, I'm going to do one more. I'm going to come up to the top and click on the category for general conditions, and I'm going to add these in here also by double clicking. So then I'm going to add them to the page. Now, a master is simply a grouping of conditions that you are going to customize. You're going to go into the condition properties and make sure all the right materials and labor are coming out of the conditions. You're going to make sure you have the right conditions in your master list. And then we're going to mark them and save them to your database. You may be wondering if you can add more conditions at this point. The answer is yes. What I'm going to do, I'm going to get rid of this tear off right now. I'm just going to right click on it, and not the tear off. I'm not going to get rid of the tear off. I'm going to get rid of the tapered crickets. I'm going to right click on this and click delete, because I don't want those tapered crickets in my master, because perhaps I have the tapered module, and I do. So I'm going to click the plus sign and go all the way to the bottom here. There in this database, they're down at the bottom right here. And I'm going to add in the tapered module, tapered insulation, so that it's part of my master list of conditions. So you'll modify this entire list, and then what you're going to do is you're going to measure all of these conditions, and you're going to do that so that the materials will show up on the material pricing screen, and the labor items will show up on the labor screen. So they need to be measured out for those things to show up on those screens. But I'm not going to take the time right now to measure those things. I thought about this before the webinar, and I've already brought in that list and I've already measured them out. So here's the same list. These black conditions have been measured. The red ones have not been measured. Let's say we want to save this master as a fully adhered EPDM master, and we don't need the mechanically attached stuff. And let's say we need just one wall flashing condition in there. Let's say we want to get rid of everything that's red. We can just mark these red ones. Scroll down because there's more down below. Okay, we've marked them all. And if we right click on any of the red descriptions here, any one of them, and click delete, it's going to delete all of the ones that are marked with an arrow there. I'm going to say yes. So I've gotten rid of those. And let's say this master looks right for my company. Now I'm going to show you how to save the master. I'm going to mark them all. This is the procedure. You mark them first and then click this button right here to create group. I'm going to click it. Now the code you're going to be making up out of your head here. I'm going to call this FS for Firestone and FA for fully adhered and EPDM. And I'll put a number 2 because I think I've already saved one FS, FA, EPDM to the database. So it needs to be unique from every other code that's in your database. Now you're limited to 12 characters. You can't go on to a 13th character here. It will let you know if you have too many characters, but you can be more elaborate here in the description. I'm going to call it Firestone, FA for fully adhered, EPDM master. Now, remember the blue lines when we added the conditions in? Those blue lines are categories. These are the blue lined categories here. So you can either put this new master into an existing category, or you could type a brand new category. Let's say we want a brand new category under this 0202 roofing slope generic group. So I'm going to type in 02-03, and I'm just going to create a new group called John's Masters. Doesn't matter what you call it. You can call it whatever you want, Masters, and click Save. And it is creating a group. This will take 30 or 40 seconds or something. While this is creating, I want to remind you that at the end of this webinar, after you close out of the webinar, you will receive a survey with some questions on the webinar. And one of the first questions that it will ask you is asking if you may be interested in coming to an in-person workshop to create all of the masters for your company's database and clean up your database. So if you may be interested in that, we get a lot of calls from people who need to clean up their database. Those the seats for those workshops will be coming up in 2025 are limited. So if you're interested, please answer that question. So we have saved the master. If I click the plus sign, remember the blue categories here? There's one called John's Masters now. We just created it. Here's the master. It's a master list of conditions that I can bring into any job, and it will have all of the materials exactly as we have them in here and the labor items. What you can't do is edit these right here in this window. You can't move them up and down, and you can't edit the condition properties. Let me show you how to edit this master list of conditions before we go on to drywall and fireproofing. So what you're going to do, you're going to come to the estimating database breadcrumb here, and you're going to double click on groups. And then I always click the refresh button. You're going to look for John's Masters. Well, you're going to look for whatever category you created. And I'm going to click this one time. And here are the conditions. This is the master that we saved. If you want to save if you want to edit the master in some kind of way, you can click the edit button over here. It's the pencil and paper icon. You click it. You can change the code if you want to. I'll go ahead and change it. You can change the description. You could even put this master into a different category or create a brand new category if you want to. If you're wondering what that auto pop does, don't worry about that. What it would do if it worked, it would save a condition as auto pop, and when you bring it into a job, it would pop up condition properties before it puts the condition on the condition list. Anyway, I'm going to click cancel here to show you you can edit the individual conditions in the master. Let's edit the wall flashing here. I'm going to click the edit button here, and it opens up condition properties where you can make any change to this. Let's say we want a 48-inch wall instead of a 36-inch wall. And we'll change it in the description and change it to 48. When you make a change to a condition in a master, when you're in the groups database, you're making that change for all future jobs. It has no effect on any existing job, including the job you're in. So in this job, if we were to go to the conditions breadcrumb, we would not have a 48-inch wall. It wouldn't just magically appear. But the next time we do a job and bring this master in, it will have a 48-inch wall, okay? So let's say we wanted to add some more equipment here. We could edit the equipment, go to the miscellaneous tab and click add, and search for whatever equipment we want to put in there. Looking for a brown equipment, the boom lift. I can click that, click select, one each of boom lift for every one of these, and it is equipment. Boom. Now we have a boom lift for all future jobs. It has no effect on any existing job. So that's how you edit the database. Look, if we wanted to send this equipment up higher in the list of conditions of your master here, we could just hit this up arrow and the equipment will go up, or the down arrow to send it down. So that's how you edit your masters in the database. Let's go back to the conditions breadcrumb, and we're going to come back to pages so I can show you now what you might want to do for drywall. This is just something you might want to do. You can come up with your own ideas to what you really want to do, but I'm going to show you, I'm going to bring in a generic sort of wall, an interior partition, drywall interior. This is a master right here. It's a master list of conditions, but I'm just going to double click on partition and bring it in. There it is. Now I can customize that condition by double clicking on it. I'm in condition properties now, and I'm going to put some tilde codes up in the description up here. If you want to know these tilde codes, just let us know and we'll go over that with you. But I'm going to click OK, and you see that the values that those tilde codes have pulled in show up on the description. So this is a 3 5/8 inch stud and track, 20 gauge, 12 feet high. It's got bats insulation, boards on side A are 12 feet, boards on side B are 12 feet. If we copy and insert that condition, let me click it, the copy and insert icon, and click copy, and then change a parameter. Let's say that this one is a 14-foot high one with, I don't know, side A going to 12 feet and side B going to 12 feet, but framed to 14. There you go. It's a different type of wall. Well, you can do this several times and create all the walls you want to create. Let's say it's 18 gauge and 16 feet high. Okay, there's another one. Let me hit one more. I'll copy and insert and change it to, let's say, 16 gauge and 20 feet high. And there you go. So now we have several wall types. We could mark all 4 of these. It doesn't matter how many there are. There could be 30 of them. And we're going to click on the create group icon and call it something like walls, and call this common wall types, and put it under a new category. I'll just put it at the very top. And you'll see why I did those zeros here in a minute. Call it John's walls, or call it whatever you want to call it. And I'm going to click save, and it is creating that group. When you get done creating a group, you want to unmark it. Unmark all of the conditions, and let's hit the plus sign. I put the zeros there so that it would be all the way at the top. By the way, John's Masters, let's say we want that to go up here also. We can make that happen. Here is the master for all of those wall types. I just created those, so you can now pull this in as one master into a job by double clicking, and all of these conditions will automatically come into your job, just like that. So a master is a preset grouping of conditions that is specific to your company, where these are the kinds of things that you do the most often. All right, so let me come back to the groups database. Since I've already been there, I've been to the estimating database and double clicked on groups. I've now got a breadcrumb to go to the groups database. I want to refresh again. I'm a guy that refreshes things. There's John's walls. Here is the master list. We can edit the individual conditions, and you can change whatever it is you want to change in here. When you're changing it, you're not affecting any existing jobs, just jobs into the future. John's Masters, how do we move this up to be under here? I think what we would do is click one time here and then hit the edit button, and just change this number right here, and it will go higher up in the list. I'm going to put 00000 and click save. Now when we come over here to the conditions breadcrumb and we hit the plus sign, there it is. John's Masters is right under John's walls. Okay. All right, so that is how you would save some wall types in drywall. Let's move on to fireproofing. I'm going to turn the fireproofing on. The reason you would want to do this in fireproofing is this. When you go to add surfaces into a job in fireproofing, typically what you do is you hit the plus sign and come to surfaces, and you go look for your surfaces and you add them in one at a time. You have to look through this list. Well, you don't have to, but you might spend time looking through this list and double click, and there's a surface, and double click on another one, there's a surface, and where's my next surface? Well, okay, double click there. This is a time-consuming thing to have to pick all these surfaces. What if you had some common surfaces that you do on most jobs? Let's get rid of this calcs condition here. I'm going to right-click and delete that. And if you had a list of conditions that you do on most jobs, or a list of surfaces that you spray your fireproofing material onto, you could list them here, then mark them all, then create a group and just call it, I don't know, beams. Call it whatever you want to call it. And common steel surfaces. And I'll create a new group called, and I'll put it all the way at the top, John's Steel, and click Save. And it will save this as one grouping that we can bring in just a couple of clicks. So that'll save you a lot of lookup time. We hit the plus sign, and John's Steel is right here. And here are those common surfaces. You just double click on them at this point. And let's say we don't have a deck on this particular job. All you need to do is double click on the deck and it's gone, and just click the Add to Page button. And that's a much easier way. So I'm thinking that fireproofing companies, you may want a list of, I don't know, 25 or 30 different common steel surfaces, maybe even more than that, so that it's just a 2 or 3 click process to bring in your beams, okay? So that is how you would do it for fireproofing. So we're coming near the end. I promised you that I would show you how to find the video on YouTube to see this webinar. You're going to go to YouTube and go to the Estimating Edge page on YouTube. When you get to the Estimating Edge page, here it is with this orange logo here. I'm going to click on it, and I'm on the Estimating Edge page. You're going to click on Playlists right here. You click on it, and this is a playlist right here with all of our webinars. So the Edge Educational Series, I'm going to click View Full Playlist. Starting tomorrow, this webinar will be here with all the other webinars we've done. So please watch some of these. I hope you're interested. Also, that survey is asking if you may be interested in an in-person workshop to create all the masters for your company and clean up your database, because we're going to have workshops in 2025 where we're doing just that. In person, if you're a company that needs your database cleaned up, then please join in. The seats are limited. We're trying to keep the number of people per workshop relatively low, so that you have more individualized attention. So those classes will fill up quickly. So please, if you're interested in one of those webinars, call your salesperson or contact us some kind of way to let us know you're interested. So that's it for the webinar on how to create masters and edit your masters in your database. Everyone have a good weekend. We'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.